All right, so in the last video, we focused on finding the summation if we knew how many terms there actually were. But let's look at this problem here. Do we know how many terms there actually are in here? No, because there's this giant gap here. We don't know how many terms are going to be in between here. So if we do not know the number of terms, it gets a little bit more complicated. Okay? We're still going to follow the same basic steps, but there's going to be one additional piece. Again, the first step should always be check to see that it's arithmetic. So what do we have to do to get from one term to the next? So 14 plus 5 would give me 19, and 19 plus 5 would give me 24. So I know that, yes, it is arithmetic. Now that I know that it's arithmetic, I can actually start working through this. Because I don't know how many terms there are, that's step one. Step one is to find the number of terms. The way that we find the number of terms is we use the nth term formula for the arithmetic sequence, which was from yesterday. A sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. So we're going to use this formula to help us figure out how many terms there are. So if I use this formula here, a sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. Well, I know my first term is 14, so that can go in that place. I know what my last term is. My last term is 189. So a sub n should be the value of your last term. So in this case, a sub 1, which is my first term, is 14. A sub n, which should be my last term, is 189. So I can put that in its place. So 189 equals 14 plus, and then we have to figure out the rest of this. Well, n is supposed to be the number of terms. We don't know the number of terms, so this is what we're trying to find. We're trying to find the number of terms. So this n, that tells me that n will always stay a variable in this step for this type of problem. So it's still going to stay n minus 1. The d, remember, is the common difference. In other words, how much are we going up or down by each time? Well, in this case, we're going up by 5, so I know my d is 5, so I can put 5 in its place. Now, just like yesterday, I notice that there's only one variable here, so I can go ahead and solve for the unknown. So we're going to distribute the 5 in to get 5n minus 5, bring the rest of it down. I can go ahead and combine like terms. So I have 189 equals 14 minus 5 would be 9, so 5n plus 9. Get n by itself, so we have 180 equals 5n, divide by 5. N equals 180 divided by 5 is 36. So now we finally know the number of terms. Now that we know the number of terms, now we can go ahead and use summation formula to find the sum. Remembering that our summation formula is S sub n equals n over 2 times a sub 1 plus a sub n. I'm sorry, not equals, that's a multiplication. So times a sub 1 plus a sub n. So now we don't know what the summation is. We know the number of terms is 36, so 36 divided by 2 times my first term, which is 14, plus my last term, which is 189. Well, 14 plus 189 would be 203. 36 divided by 2 is 18. So then I multiply that out in my calculator, and I get S sub 36 equals 3,654. So 3,654 is my summation. All right, so this one, like I said, gets a little bit more complicated. We still have to do this last step here, but at the beginning you have to find your number of terms first. So let's do one more example together. So example 1, if I look what's happening, 8 minus 6 would get me to 2. 2 minus 6 would get me to 4, so I know that it's arithmetic. Now, if I knew the number of terms, I could go straight to my summation formula. But I don't know how many terms there are because there's 1, 2, 3, a whole bunch mixing in the middle, and then a fourth one. So it could be 20, it could be 10, it could be 4 terms. We don't really know. We're going to have to go ahead and find the number of terms first. The way we find the number of terms is we use our formula. A sub n equals the first term plus n minus 1 times the common difference. Well, a sub n is our last term, which in this case is negative 94, equals a sub 1, which is our first term, which is 8, plus, I don't know how many terms there are, so n minus 1, and the difference we just found to be negative 6. Make sure you put it in parentheses to show it's multiplication and not subtraction. So now we can go ahead and solve. So we're going to distribute this in to get negative 6n plus 6 and bring everything else down. We can combine our like terms. So we have negative 94 equals, well, 8 plus 6 is 14, so negative 6n plus 14. So then we can subtract 14. So negative 108 equals negative 6n. Divide by negative 6, n equals 18. So this tells me how many terms there are. But we're not done because the question asks us to find the sum. So we're working to find the sum. So now that I know how many terms there are, now I can go ahead and use that formula to find the summation. So S sub n equals n over 2 times the first term plus the last term. So the total number of terms is 18 divided by 2. The first term was 8. The last term was negative 94. So 18 divided by 2 is 9, and we're going to multiply that by negative 86. And this is for, we knew n was 18, so this is for the 18 terms. So the summation of the first 18 terms is negative 774. All right, so now you're going to go ahead and try that last one on your own, and we'll go over it in class tomorrow.